The Utah desert, vast and unforgiving, holds secrets that have been buried for generations. Among its canyons and sagebrush, hidden communities cling to traditions that seem lost to time, preserving a way of life that many have forgotten. These are the polygamous enclaves, shrouded in secrecy and controversy, where the past and present collide in a unique cultural tapestry. Their existence whispers on the wind, a stark contrast to the modern world that surrounds them, creating an almost surreal juxtaposition. The most well-known of these groups is the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or FLDS, a splinter group from the mainstream Mormon Church that has garnered much attention. Their practices, particularly polygamy and the strict prohibition of premarital sex, have drawn both fascination and condemnation from the outside world. To understand the FLDS is to delve into a world where faith and law collide, where tradition often masks darker truths and hidden struggles. The FLDS communities are concentrated in remote areas, their isolation a shield against outside scrutiny, and a fortress for their beliefs. Towns like Hilldale, Utah, and Colorado City, Arizona, serve as strongholds for their beliefs, standing as testaments to their enduring faith. Here, life revolves around a strict patriarchal structure, with the community's prophet holding absolute authority over every aspect of life. This isolation, while offering a degree of autonomy, also creates a breeding ground for abuse and exploitation, hidden from the eyes of the world. The FLDS belief system is rooted in a fundamentalist interpretation of Mormon scripture, one that diverges sharply from the mainstream church's teachings and practices. Polygamy, they believe, is a path to exaltation in the afterlife, a way to ensure a man's place in heaven and a cornerstone of their faith. Women are taught that their salvation is tied to their obedience to their husbands and their ability to bear children, reinforcing traditional gender roles. This rigid social order leaves little room for dissent or individual agency, particularly for women and girls, who often find themselves trapped in a cycle of subservience. The FLDS story is a complex tapestry woven from faith, isolation, and power, each thread telling a part of a larger narrative. It is a story of unwavering belief colliding with the realities of the modern world, a story that continues to unfold in the shadows of the Utah desert, where the past and present are forever intertwined. To understand the FLDS, one must first understand their history, a history deeply rooted in the broader narrative of the Mormon faith. The group's origins lie in the late 19th century, a time when the mainstream Mormon Church, under pressure from the U.S. government, officially disavowed the practice of polygamy. This was a significant turning point that would forever alter the course of Mormon history. This decision led to a rift within the faith, with some members refusing to abandon what they saw as a divinely ordained principle. They believed that polygamy was an essential part of their religious duty and identity. These dissenters, clinging to the teachings of early church leaders like Brigham Young, fled to remote outposts in the West, determined to live their faith on their own terms. They sought isolation to practice their beliefs without interference. These splinter groups, scattered across the Intermountain West, faced persecution and prejudice. Their commitment to polygamy made them targets of both legal action and social ostracism. They were seen as heretics by the mainstream Mormon Church and as criminals by the U.S. government. This dual rejection only strengthened their resolve to maintain their way of life. Yet they persevered, their faith a shield against the outside world's scorn. Their communities became bastions of their beliefs, places where they could live according to their own rules. Over time, these disparate groups coalesced, forming communities united by their belief in plural marriage and their rejection of what they saw as the Mormon Church's apostasy. They found strength in unity and shared purpose. The FLDS, as they came to be known, established a stronghold in the border towns of Hilldale and Colorado City. These towns became the heart of their religious and cultural life. Here, they built a society in their own image, one governed by their interpretation of religious law. Their laws and customs were distinct, reflecting their unique worldview. The community thrived, its population swelling with each passing decade. Their isolation allowed them to grow without much outside influence. But this isolation, while offering a degree of autonomy, also allowed for the rise of an authoritarian leadership structure, one that would have devastating consequences for many within the community. Power became concentrated in the hands of a few. The FLDS's break from the mainstream Mormon Church was not merely a theological dispute. It was a rejection of the modern world's encroachment on their way of life. They saw themselves as the true keepers of the faith. This rejection, fueled by a siege mentality, would shape the community's relationship with the outside world for generations to come. Their insularity became both a shield and a prison. The FLDS community's practice of polygamy has long placed it at odds with the law. This tension has persisted for decades, creating a complex and often contentious relationship between the community and legal authorities. While the mainstream Mormon Church officially abandoned plural marriage in 1890, the FLDS, or Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, continued the practice, believing it to be a central tenet of their faith. The FLDS community views polygamy as a divine commandment, essential for their spiritual salvation. This belief has led them to maintain their practices despite increasing legal pressures. This defiance has led to numerous legal challenges, with authorities struggling to balance religious freedom with the need to protect potential victims of abuse. The legal system has often found itself at a crossroads, trying to uphold the law while respecting religious practices. One of the most high-profile cases in recent years involved Samuel Bateman, a self-proclaimed prophet who led an offshoot of the FLDS. Bateman, who claimed to have over 20 wives, many of them underage girls, was arrested in 2023 on charges of child abuse and sexual exploitation. His case, which shocked the nation, highlighted the dark underbelly of polygamy and the dangers of unchecked power within isolated communities. The revelations from Bateman's arrest brought national attention to the hidden abuses within the FLDS. Bateman's case is not an isolated incident. The FLDS has a long and troubling history of child marriage and sexual abuse, with numerous leaders facing similar accusations over the years. Warren Jeffs, the sect's former leader, is currently serving a life sentence for sexually assaulting two of his child brides. His conviction was a significant moment in the ongoing battle against the abuses within the FLDS. These cases have exposed the FLDS's practice of spiritual marriages, where young girls are forced into unions with older men, often against their will. The stories of these young girls have brought to light the severe human rights violations occurring within the community. The legal battles surrounding the FLDS raise complex questions about religious freedom and the limits of the law. While the First Amendment guarantees the right to practice one's religion freely, it does not protect actions that harm others. The challenge for authorities is to find a way to address the abuses that occur within these communities while respecting the rights of those who choose to live within them. This delicate balance is crucial in ensuring justice and protection for the vulnerable while upholding the principles of religious freedom. The ongoing efforts to bring justice to the victims and hold perpetrators accountable continue to shape the narrative around the FLDS and its practices. The future of the community remains uncertain as it grapples with these legal and moral challenges. The legal battles surrounding the FLDS raise complex questions about religious freedom and the limits of the law. While the First Amendment guarantees the right to practice one's religion freely, it does not protect actions that harm others. The challenge for authorities is to find a way to address the abuses that occur within these communities while respecting the rights of those who choose to live within them.
In our community, the commandments are not just rules to follow. They are a way of life, deeply ingrained in our daily routines. Each wife has a role to play, and each role is considered sacred and essential.
The community's beliefs dictate strict adherence to these commandments, with every member expected to comply without exception.
Living here, you feel cut off from the rest of the world. It's like we're in our own bubble.
Yeah, it's hard to connect with anyone outside. The isolation makes us vulnerable, you know?
Isolation can create an environment where control is easier to maintain, leaving individuals feeling trapped and powerless.
This kind of environment often leads to a cycle of abuse. The lack of external intervention allows harmful practices to continue unchecked.
When I was part of the community, I saw things that were deeply troubling.
The cycle of abuse perpetuates itself, with victims feeling they have no way out.
Recently, we've seen some changes. People are starting to question the old ways.
Yeah, there's a sense that maybe, just maybe, things can get better.
Despite the challenges, there is a growing sense of hope within the community, a belief that change is possible.